Tommy, do you think dead people can talk to living people?
In many ways, when my brother died, one of the things that I was curious about was, would he be in communication with me? And I felt a number of times that he had something to say to me. Whether that is directly from him or not, I'm not sure. But we're going to speak with somebody who's had a lot of experience in this area. Mark, some of the most common questions from people who are grieving after the loss of someone who's special to them is, what happens to us when we die? Will we see our loved ones again? And can we receive communication from them after they're gone?
Our guest today believes that we can receive communication signs from our loved ones after they've passed from life. She's the founder of Prayer Wave for After-Death Communication, a spiritual prayer and grief support internet group. And she's the author of a new book titled God's Gift of Love, After-Death Communications for Those Who Grieve. Christine Duminiak, welcome.
Christine, why did you write the book?
I wrote the book to let others know that our loved ones do survive death, that they are still a huge part of our lives, and that God, in His mercy, allows them to communicate with us in many different ways.
My sister, for example, went into a meditation course. She was like my brother's soulmate. And a couple of times she feels as though she's been lifted out of her body and gone into his presence. And it's a very powerful thing in her life.
Sure.
Tell us about your experience, though.
All right, I'd love to. Back in 1998, I was an ordinary stay-at-home mom with a great husband and 2 great teenagers. Life was good. And then one night, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law dropped by for a visit. They stayed for about an hour.
They were alive?
No, they were dead.
Oh.
So that was the peculiar thing about the visit.
Did they at least call ahead of time to see if you had
No,
cake?
it was quite a surprise. And now, that certainly got my attention.
Let's go through this, because your group has discovered several different types of contact with dead folk.
Right.
And let's look at each of these kinds. First of all, dream visits. What's that?
That's when you have a vivid dream that's comforting of your loved one, where you really feel like you're talking to them.
Okay,
and it
that's
makes
a
you
dream.
Feel good, and it makes you feel good.
But that's a dream.
Well, I believe it's an actual visit from your loved one, and I'll give you an example. Because sometimes validations come through that you don't know about until the next day. For instance, I am the world's worst cook and baker, and it's a joke in my family. So my daughter came home, she said, "Mom, help me make these cookies for my boyfriend for Valentine's Day, and we need ricotta cheese." Well, I never bought ricotta cheese. I said, okay, so we made the cookies, had to throw them out, and I had all this ricotta cheese left over. I go to bed that night, and I have this dream of my dad, who passed 4 years ago. And we were in the kitchen cooking together, and there were those cookies that I threw out. And he said to me, "Well, you know, ricotta cheese is good with manicotti." And I said, "Oh, okay, Dad, thank you." And I thought, wow, I get to see my dad. I get to hug him. And I gave him a big hug. And then that morning, I woke up, and I said, you know, I never made manicotti. I don't even eat it. So I called my sister, who's a great cook, and I said, "Does ricotta cheese go in the manicotti?" She says, "Oh, yeah, it does." Now, there is something I didn't know, but my dad told me in this dream. So
well,
to me...
People who die frequently help us in life, and they may help us in death. We need to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll continue our discussion with author Christine Duminiak. Stay with us.
What we're talking about really is contact with the dead, and this may shock you, but I believe it's real. Yep, I do. And we're talking with Christine Duminiak, the author of the new book, God's Gift of Love, After-Death Communications for Those Who Grieve.
One of the other ways.
Oh, okay. That they visit us?
Yes.
Through audio. You may hear someone call your name inside your ear or outside of the room, but there's no one around. You may hear a song that connects you to your loved one being played in your ear. Pets do come back and let us know that they're okay, too. There's a terrific story in my book where this couple's pet used to have this daily habit of grooming every day, and his chain would click against the drawer on the woman's side of the bed. And when their pet died, they were really grief-stricken, and one day she and her husband were laying in bed, and they heard the clicking noise again, and they both jumped up, looked over. Well, their pet wasn't there, but they knew the spiritual body of the pet came to say, "I'm okay."
Okay, what are some of the other signs?
Some of the other signs are touches. You may feel someone touching your face or patting your head or stroking your hair. Yes, exactly. But there's no one there. Sense. scent of them, like maybe
Like their
cigarettes,
perfume.
their perfume, their cologne.
Okay.
Electrical, the TV, channel surfing all by itself.
We had that experience. We lived in a haunted house in Evanston, Illinois. It was an old nursing home where a lot of people had died. And we would wake up with the TV on that we had turned off and turn to new channels. That was so weird.
Oh, yeah.
And we had light bulbs explode with when they were off. Yeah,
Had you paid your bills?
No. It might have been something. Wait, what else? Electrical, what else? Animals,
before we
insects.
take this
I want to
quick
know about
break.
insects.
Find out after the show.
Okay.
Before we take this quick break, we'd like to thank Christine for being with us today.
You were great. You were
Mark
great.
and I will
Thank
be
you.
back in a moment with our commentary.
So what do you think?
I think that it's something that could bring a lot of healing, a lot of hope, a lot of love to people who are looking for something.
I agree.